What's up, everybody? This is Kelly Cook. We are live here, Everything Phoenix on YouTube. My favorite place to be, I think. Right? I love YouTube. Love coming to you guys live, especially and giving you education and knowledge of what's going on in the housing market, so you can be fully informed. Right? That's what this is all about. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy training, and I feel like I get a chance to do this here on YouTube Live every single week. We go live. So thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, please put them in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. We do see a lot of people watch the replay as well, so we appreciate everyone who tunes in. Now, today we're talking about new home builders. They are killing the market. What do I mean by that? And then there's the $100,000 club. We'll discuss that in a second. And if you missed your first go around with buying a home over the past 2 years, 3 years or so, this could be your second chance that you've been looking for. There's a window of time going on right now that I think everyone should not ignore and pay close attention to. So without further ado, let's jump right in and get started. Again, guys, my name is Kelly Cook with Real Broker here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And by all means, feel free to reach out to me with any questions via phone or text at 480-660-5974. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen and we're diving in like we always do. Here's the topic of our first article from the Phoenix Business Journal. And we're going to cover the local housing stats as well, but we're going to just hold off on that for a second here and get right to this article because this is a good one. Titled, "Missed the buyer's market last year? You may get a second chance at home ownership." Well, that's interesting. I know a lot of people wish they could have a mulligan. In golf, that means a do-over. And this could be kind of like that a little bit. The values haven't plummeted 30%, so we're not getting that do-over at least yet, and I don't think you probably will because I don't see that happening. The data would not suggest that would be happening anytime soon, given the current economic conditions. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's explore this article. Here we go. Home buyers who missed out on buyer's market last year might soon be getting another opportunity for value. Buyers are going to get another chance at this buyer's market, said Tina Tambor, senior housing analyst for the Cromford Report. Guys, so the Business Journal is so smart. They follow the same people we do, the Cromford Report, because, again, they are the foremost economic advisor when it comes to the housing market here in Phoenix. Overall, the housing market is headed back into balance. But there are some cities in the peripheral areas of the valley where it's already a buyer's market, she said, pointing to Queen Creek, Maricopa, Casa Grande, Gold Canyon, and Litchfield Park. Then there's some other ones that are lethargic and imbalanced, yada, yada, yada. Let's get to the stats. Here we go. In Arizona, just over 42% of the homes are owned, outright. 42% of the homes in Arizona are owned free and clear. No debt. Of those, 91.8% of homeowners with a mortgage are locked into a rate under 6%. While 82% of those have rates below 5%, and 62% of these 91% sample size of homeowners in Arizona with mortgage have a rate at 4% or below. Guys, that is staggering. Now, you've heard me talk about this, and what's interesting is across the country, you're looking at very similar numbers. Across the country, about 40% of all homes that are owned by people are owned debt-free. And then out of the rest of them, the blended total is about 79.5% of all homeowners in America have a 4% rate or less. 4% rate or less nationally. Arizona is very similar to that based upon these numbers. Okay. But over the past couple of days, mortgage rates have dropped back down from 8% to, oh my gosh, wait for it, 7.38%. After the Fed announced it wouldn't raise interest rates. So we got a little bit of a bump there this past week. But it's unclear whether or not that's going to stay. She said there's a lot of things that are contingent right now on which direction the price is going. Now, let's talk about rates right now. Let's go right to the graph because I'm a visual person, and here we go. So you can see a little dip right there, okay? A little dip from 7.94 down to 7.46 according to Mortgage News Daily. That is happening. But look at the red right here, guys. Just as of this morning, there was a rate reprice for the worst, and rates bounced back up a little bit. All right, to 7.49. Now, 7.49 is still a lot better than 8. Still a lot better than 8.5. So, Still not bad, but that doesn't mean rates are coming down and falling hard because that's just probably not going to happen anytime soon. That was just a little reprieve we had in the market. And if you were ready with your lender and you're ready to maybe buy that house, that's a time where you let it kind of float, and then something like what happened the end of last week happens, you jump in, you lock it for at least 30 days, right? And you can do rate locks longer than that. It just may cost a little bit of money. So that is a good thing. Now I'm going to share my screen and go back to this because this is a good article. Going back to the same article, what prices are doing. The median home price in Metro Phoenix is around 440, which is down 0.3% from 441.5 last year, Tina said. Over the past 5 years, the median home price has been hovering between 435 and 445, she said. A company which works with 270 lenders across the U.S. and Canada tracked $39.3 million in construction loans in Metro Phoenix on its Built platform, up from $28.5 million in September. Okay, there are condo and apartment complex being constructed right now, and that is going on. He found the hottest zip codes in Metro Phoenix during October for these home construction loans were 85251, that is the Arcadia, South Scottsdale area as well. 8583, which is 383, which is Peoria. 85142, 85253, and 349. That range from Paradise Valley into Phoenix and over into the West Valley, Peoria, right? On average, homes are sitting, taking longer to sell, and so on and so forth. But we're definitely seeing pressure on the average days on market metrics. He said average days on market is up 20 to 30% in the last 4 to 6 months. Days on market is up 20 to 30%. However, you go to the data. Here we go. That is true data. That is true data. But look at what price is doing. Here we go. As of 3 days ago, right? November 6th. Despite the plunging Cromford Market Index, pricing trends have been largely favorable over the past 2 months. Here's a 6-month chart showing daily readings for the active listing square footage price per square foot, under contract price per square foot, and closed list price average per square foot, and closed sell price average per square foot. And you can see, guys, here's the blue. Active list price per square foot, way up here, is what people are asking. They're not getting it. It's available on the market right now. And you have the green, which is under contract list price square foot. So the green is where the price had to be for a buyer to say, I'll write an offer, and an offer gets accepted by the seller. The brown is the closed. So the green to the brown is the distance of what people are getting their house for when they're negotiating with the seller off the price at the current time. Interesting, right? And there's a gap there. There always is typically a gap there, unless, of course, it's a huge seller's market. But there's a gap, and that gap right now is about 98% on a list to sell price ratio across the valley. But let's read a little bit further. The active listing price per square foot is lower than it was 6 months ago, but that follows the usual seasonal pattern. Okay. The current trend is pretty flat, with optimistic new listing prices being balanced by price cuts for existing listings that remain on the market for more than a few weeks. What this means, guys, is that there are sellers that are out there that are coming on the market very optimistic, going, yep, I want to price it up here, when really the market is down here. Meanwhile, some of those sellers that stay in the market for quite some time, they get a little, beat down by this, and they eventually drop their price. But as they're dropping the price, new inventory is coming on the market, and they're still being optimistic up here. So the average between these two are keeping the average price per square foot for the active listings on the market still fairly high. Okay, that's interesting, right? So I'll share my screen and go back to it. Here we go. Under contracts, price per square foot is a lot higher than it was 6 months ago. That's good. Okay, about 6% higher. The list price per square foot for closed listings stands at 303, up from 287 6 months ago. Again, just under 6%. And again, just over 6% for the sell price per square foot. Closed listings are achieving a slightly higher percentage of the final asking price compared to 6 months ago. It is up from 97.5 to 97.9, call it 98% list to sell price ratio. Okay, now where's it going to go? Since the end of August, the gap between the under contract line, which is green, and the close line, which is brown, here we go, back to the graph there, has been too big. When this happens, it is safe to predict the gap will close. In this case, prices for closed listings rose significantly while under contract prices remained stable. The gap is now back to normal. Closed prices are unlikely to rise much further from this point unless under contract prices establish an upward trend again, which right now they're not. Look at the green line. They are going down. Given the balance between supply and demand, it seems more likely that under contract pricing will weaken, but we will have to wait and see what recent moves in interest rates do to the buyer enthusiasm. Okay, interesting. I find that very interesting, guys. So right now, what you have is a market that has pent up demand. We know it's there, but it's not showing up because number one, the season right now in the cycle for Phoenix's housing market is normally a little sleepy this time of year. In addition to that, it's highly dependent on interest rates. So as interest rates continue to do what they do, if they're going to stay high, you're going to probably see more of the same for the foreseeable future here, at least through the end of the year. That's the prediction. Now, what does this do though for buyers? Going back to this article, this opens up a small window of time where buyers right here could have an opportunity with a lot more leverage. Now, prices aren't falling. It's a lag indicator, right? However, there's a chance to negotiate. And, if you're buying a 3-2-1 buy down on the rate or a 2-1 buy down on the rate, you can get it pretty darn affordable, assuming you believe that rates are going to come down in the next 2 to 3 years. And I don't know of any economist right now that does not believe that, given where we are economically today. So that's good news for that type of person. Now, what is, out of curiosity, the 100K club? These are zip codes where it takes a 6-figure income to afford a home. That's interesting. Where are these high dollar places at? Okay. Across the US, there are 14 different zip codes required of an annual income of more than 1 million to afford a mortgage in 2023. Okay. Now we're talking about 100K. They're talking right now about 1 million. So that's even higher price, right? But here we go. Let's get to this here. Based on current median home values across the country, interest rates, and an assumed 10% down payment, you'll need to earn at least 6 figures to own a median price home in 28.6% or more, of the more than 23,921 zip codes across America. That's up from 27.6%, up 1%, okay, from a year ago. For comparison, the national median income was 74,580 in 2022. Okay, so the income on the median house prices across America rose 1% year to year. Will that remain? It could, although there could be a dip for a period of time. But net, could it still be positive this time next year? There's a good argument for that. Okay, now it takes at least $250,000 to afford a median priced home in 3.2% of the zip codes that we analyze. So 3.2% of the 23,921 zip codes across America. All right. The national housing picture. Nationally, median home prices inched up by an average of 0.67% between 22 and 23. Okay. Emblematic of, obviously, lofty gains during that time. But surging rates, which are nearing 8%, are also compounding the affordability equation for home buyers and pricing many out of the market entirely. Now, it's interesting. You talk about a couple of tourism hotbeds like Moran, Wyoming, which is by the Grand Teton National Park, Jackson Hole, etc. Saw the largest increase with the median value in Wyoming, well over $410,000 right here. Okay, up by 16%. Then you have Hilton Head, South Carolina. You have places in Virginia. I can't even pronounce that, so I'm not going to try. So we'll just keep moving. But here's the really super high-end stuff, guys. Look at this. A zip codes requiring at least $1 million of annual income. Wow. Atherton, California, Miami Beach, somewhere in New York, Sagaponack, Beverly Hills, Aspen, Colorado, Watermill, New York, Montecito, California, Los Altos, and Rancho Santa Fe. The list goes on and on. Aspen being the one city that is not on the coast that demands this type of income to live there because, well, it's Aspen. That's why. Meanwhile, 3 of the 10 least expensive zip codes in the U.S. were in Youngstown, Ohio. So if you want super affordable housing, we could, maybe move or invest in Youngstown, Ohio, an industrial community that has economically waxed and waned along the coal and steel industries, but they are recently attaching their fortunes to the electric vehicle sector. So maybe they'll be up and coming over the next 5 years or so with that rebirth of that industry. Okay, but here the least expensive zip codes across the country are found in the South and the Rust Belt and in Appalachia. Interesting. Now, I'm going to pivot real quick here and show you this. What I mean when I said that new home buyers are killing the housing market. Here's what I mean by that. Here's an article by Yahoo Finance that says, do you want a 5% mortgage rate? Buy a newly built home. Well, that's interesting. Why is that? Okay. Here we go. While the average mortgage remains stuck above 6%, buyers of new homes are getting a much better deal, according to one expert. So buyers out there are buying new homes are not paying 6.5 or 7 or 8.5%. UBS Home Builders and Building Products Analysis, this guy said, they're paying under 5% or around that in most cases. Now, how is that possible? There's a big advantage home builders have in this market. Their financing, in addition to capitalizing on low inventory environment in the previously owned home market. Builders have the ability to do this because of the captive finance arms that they have. And we think this positions the public home builders in particular extremely, extremely well here in this environment. And it does. For home buyers, a 1% point difference in the mortgage can significantly impact home purchasing power. The monthly mortgage payment on a $400,000 home with 20% down at 5.35 is $1,787 a month. The payment rises to $1,991 a month at 6.35. That's over $200 more a month, or $2,400 a year just for 1 point for a $400,000 home with a 20% down payment. A 2% point difference is even better, of course. That's what Pulte Homes is offering earlier this year. The home builder recently offered a 30-year mortgage rate at 4.25 for qualified homes under construction through its financing arm. During the time it ran the special, the average rate on a 30-year mortgage ranged between 6.09 and 6.73, according to Freddie Mac. By offering lower rates, we helped make our homes more affordable for today's consumers. Guys, so you get the point of what's going on. They're building homes, they're using the financing as a competitive advantage to sell more homes. But why is this messing up the housing market? Here's why. Number one, how can they afford to do this? Okay, so let's explain this really quick. I'll make this really fast. Home builders buy a big plot of land. When they do that, they have purchasing power because they have their own financing division. So what they do is they go to the big investors, could be Freddie, Fannie, could be private investors, and they say, hey, we want to pre-buy this capital that you are going to lend to us so that we can lend to all of our borrowers that buy homes for us in the subdivision. We're going to pre-buy it. And for that, we'll pay some sort of premium. So they pay a premium fee and they lock in ahead of time, almost like futures trading, I guess, a certain amount of capital, a big pool of money, $100 million, $1 billion, who knows, at a certain rate. And so this investor says, here you go, pay my fee, which is a big chunk of money, and we'll lock you in at 5% on this $500 million pool of money. Okay. They say, thank you very much. Now, they're going to have that money available to them to then give to people as they pre-buy while they're building their homes or when they finish homes. Okay. So Susie and Johnny, home buyer, come along and say, hey, I want a new house because I have, an extra, I just had another child. I need an extra bedroom, whatever the case may be. And I this house here I could buy that's a resale home, but man, it's the same price as $400,000, it's $500,000, whatever. But they're not offering any type of rate buy down because they need that number at $500,000 or right around there. And so I guess I will have a mortgage that won't be affordable, and therefore I can't buy the house. Conversely, I'll go to Pulte, I'll go to D.R. Horton, I'll go to these large home builders that are offering these incentives on the rate buy down, and they will say, I'll buy your house, and maybe it won't be in the area I want to live in. Maybe it's a little more inconvenient for me to drive a little further to your community, but I'll do it. Why? Because you're going to give me a 2-1 buy down on my mortgage, maybe a 3-2-1 buy down, just depends. So the same house is $500,000, is brand new, and instead of my payment being 7% in year one and for the next 30 years, I'm going to get 5% on a 2-1 buy down in year one and 6% in year two, and then it goes back to 7. And everyone's banking on the fact that they're going to obviously have rates permanently drop down when the economy maybe sputters out here a little bit. That's how they're doing it. And so they're moving product. Prices don't have to come down because they're artificially giving them these credits that are making their payment, because it's all about the monthly payment, the affordability, not necessarily the price, for the house, for the consumer, for the buyer. That is keeping prices up here. So now you have all the resale people thinking, well, my house is worth it here because the new build is maybe just, $10,000, $15,000 higher. So mine is, it's a nice house, but it's not, built 15 years ago. So it's still pretty close to that. It's up here. But they're not able to offer the buy down because they maybe need that money because maybe they're leveraged more or whatever the case is, or need a certain dollar amount to cash out to go buy the next house. So you have the situation where the housing market is not going down because primarily it's being propped up by the affordability these home buyers are able to offer buyers when they purchase a new home. When really, at some point, I don't say we need it, but it would be nice for a lot of people to have a reset. Now, obviously, no one wants to see their value of their house go down 20%. But if it did and the housing market reset 20% down, wow, a lot more people could jump in. And most likely, given the amount of demand that's pent up, the 20% wouldn't stay down 20% much longer. It would probably come back up pretty darn quick because of that affordability it would create for a lot of people looking to buy a home. Interesting, right? Interesting. So I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying that they are able to keep prices propped up because they're offering these credits behind the scenes to make the house more affordable on a monthly payment basis to anyone who buys it. A little bit of behind the scenes information there on the home builders and the housing market, okay? So now let's go over here to the jobs report because why is the economy not stalling out? You see right here in September, article by CNBC, the employment rate was at 3.8% compared to the forecast of 3.7. Still pretty low, even though it missed its forecast. Now you go over to October. The jobs report just came out here a little while ago, and it's a national unemployment rate of 3.9. So it went up 3.8 to 3.9. So not a big jump, but it did go up. It's going in the quote unquote right direction according to what the Federal Reserve is trying to accomplish. This, I guess, could be good. It's so weird to say, right? Because normally the unemployment rate is going up. We're like, oh, that's not good, for the economy. We need, people to be employed, which is true. But in this situation, to get this inflation under control, we got to have the economy stall out. That's just what it is. Affordability be there if the economy doesn't reset to therefore have the inflation go down and therefore make rates come down and therefore have the housing market be more affordable. This is the domino effect. So there were 150,000 net jobs in September and showing that the economy is still being resilient, albeit what's going on in the economy overall. Now, I thought this was interesting, okay? You have this article that came out by Fox News, okay? In Phoenix, this is how much money you need to make to afford a medium-priced home, October 18th, just a little while ago, okay? And here's what they say. The report, which is published by Redfin, shows the overall the income an average home buyer needs to afford a medium-priced home in the U.S. has gone up 15%, or $15,000 from a year ago, up by over 50% since the start of COVID-19 pandemic. 50%, 50. The report, affordable, is defined, here you go, as situations where a monthly home mortgage payment does not exceed 30% of a home buyer's income. That's how affordability is defined, guys. You can spend more than 30% of your income on a monthly basis on your housing, but they're recommending not to. Now, as the price is lower, that's going to be a higher percentage price. As the home price is higher, it'll be a lower percentage price. But nonetheless, you should try to stay around 30%. I know some people are doing 40% as what they are paying on their mortgage based on their monthly income. And that's not ideal because you would not only have 60% left for everything else, right? They need to pay for whatever that is throughout the month. Okay, but what do the numbers say about Arizona? For Phoenix, the report states that a homebuyer will need to make at least $121,000 a year in order to afford a medium-price home, an increase of 13.6% from a year ago. That's crazy. The median home price in Phoenix is $445,000 and in Tucson $365,000 respectively. Okay. The same report also states that a typical American household earns about $40,000 less than the income needed to buy a medium-price home. This is the gap. This is the difference. This is the problem when it comes to affordability with where home prices are compared to wages. All right. So what can home buyers do to afford a home? This is a great question. On their website, your wallet listed a number of advice for first-time home buyers, guys. And listen up. This is important. Okay. May not be the answer you want to hear, but these are good answers. Saving early for down payments, closing costs, and moving expenses. Figure out how much you can safely spend on a house before starting to shop. Check your credit. Okay. This is important, guys. And I mean, this is a lot. This is what a lot of people don't talk about. Talk about having a payment lower so they can afford it. They talk about low down payment assistance programs, which we're going to talk about here on this article in just a second. But nobody talks about when the person is 21 years old, 19, 20 years old, with whatever income they are receiving to start saving. to live below their means, to not spend money on everything like it's going out of style, and to actually have a budget to keep money set aside so you can start compounding that money so you have a payment for a down payment. Now, back in the 60s, I bet you talk to someone back then, they would say, oh, yeah, I taught my kids all of this. You know, not everybody, let's be clear, but I bet you it was a lot more commonplace. Or in the 70s, a lot more commonplace to talk about that because most people, when they did buy a home, they used 20% down to do that because that was just the mindset or more. That was the mindset. Well, that mindset's gone now. And so it needs to be reintroduced to our culture, reintroduced to our younger generation. And that takes parenting and education curriculum, which is frankly just not available in our public school system, which is a sham, in my opinion. The public school system, the Department of Education, that is creating this, is doing a service to all our young people by not putting something in there for our teachers to teach them about personal finance and budgeting and saving money and living below your means. I know it's not that sexy topic that's going to get video views on TikTok or maybe even YouTube right here, unfortunately, but hopefully you will. Hopefully you'll say, yeah, this is what we need. This is going against the grain of what everyone's talking about here. Kelly Cook is talking about it, and we need to listen to this and share this with all these people out there because this is what needs to happen to change a generation. Right? So share the video, guys, please. Comment below. Am I wrong or am I wrong? Or am I right or am I right? Hopefully say I'm right, but if you're wrong, I'll take that constructive criticism and we'll agree to disagree, or maybe I'll even agree with you because you'll turn my opinion the other way. But here we go, guys. Let me finish this article, and hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying there and agree with it even. That'd be great. Are there home buyer assistance programs in Phoenix? This is also something that can help you on the affordability aspect. The Arizona Department of Housing lists a number of programs that Arizonans can look at in home or for homeownership assistance. One of them, called Home Plus Arizona, is described as a program that offers a 30-year fixed rate mortgage with a down payment assistance grant that can be used towards the down payment and or closing costs. It's true, guys. It's true. Here's the website, City of Phoenix. There are two programs where they will literally gift you, if you qualify, the down payment. Free money if you qualify, right? And so I don't know who would not take you up on that aspect. Now, downsides. Possibly your interest rate will be a little bit higher than it would be if you didn't take the assistance on the down payment. But if you had no down payment, if you want to cheat the system and fast forward this thing, I just talked about saving it. Now I'm sitting there cheating, telling you how to cheat it. So I don't know what, right? But you should be saving. I meant that when I said, but if you don't have it, you have these programs available. At some point, they'll probably run out because they're bond programs. I don't know, but they've been going on for a while. And so if you qualify, fill it out, take advantage, get approved, and then go home shopping, assuming you can have the ability to afford your monthly payment. That's obviously important as well. But if the down payment is a problem, this is potentially a solution. Okay. And you can go on here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but there's a couple different programs here in which you can get free money for your down payment if you qualify. So check it out. Give us a call, 480-660-5974. We'd be happy to walk you through this and help you find a house in which you can get into it for possibly zero money down. No money for closing costs. We'll the seller pay for those. We'll negotiate that into your deal. And then your down payment is taken care of by the bond program. Okay. Lori, thank you. Your comment here, you are absolutely right. Huge problem in our younger generation. Thank you very much. I appreciate the ability to concur with me on this. And I have kids myself, guys, and it's a big thing for me. I'm going to be teaching them about this stuff, and they have to figure it out themselves. They will have to do that, but they will at least have the education to know. And unfortunately, there's just a lot of young people who don't have the education because maybe it's not there from the household with the parent or parents, or maybe it's just not there, or both, not there in the educational system. So unfortunately, that's a disservice that hopefully will change as we move into the near future through our country and our culture. So guys, thank you very much for our time. Oh, I want to cover a couple more things. We're almost done here, but I never stop or never go through a whole YouTube live with you guys without giving you some development. You need some development. What's going on? We're going to go through this really fast, but you still need to know what's going on. Hot takes. Here we go. Lucid stock tumbles with electric vehicle maker lowers production expectations. So all you need to know about this is obviously Lucid is based out of California, but they had a huge manufacturing plant in Casa Grande, Arizona, just south of Phoenix right here. And it's not doing so well. They have a new COO they just hired. So hopefully that will turn their stock price around. WeWork, you guys know about WeWork, right? This is the shared office space, like a Regis type deal. They just filed bankruptcy. It's unclear what that means for Phoenix locations, but there are some of those. And they filed bankruptcy officially. Finally, you knew this was coming. You heard about it the last year or two. Unfortunately, they're just not able to fill all their leases in this high-end office space they have throughout the country. And so with COVID, it hurt them tremendously, and they just overspent and over leveraged themselves. So they are in bankruptcy now. Here we go. Pickleball, guys. We can't go a whole YouTube live without talking about pickleball. I mean, come on, right? But check it out. Pure Pickleball lines up its debut at the Riverwalk Retail and Entertainment Development in Scottsdale. Yes, more pickleball in Scottsdale. This is going to be awesome. It's the crave. It's sweeping the nation. Look at the rendering of the pickleball facility. It's going to be awesome. Right by Talking Stick Casino in Central Scottsdale, right off the Loop 101 for your convenience. Okay, this is going to be a phenomenal place that is just going to be, it's going to add to all the allure of the boardwalk area there in Scottsdale. But you can see right here that Pure Pickleball, they want 40 indoor courts and indoor and outdoor. And they're planning to open in 2024. And what I love about this is check it out, the USA Pickleball to relocate its headquarters when this project opens to Scottsdale, Arizona, baby. Let's go, Phoenix. Everything Phoenix. More companies, more businesses making their way down to Phoenix. And USA Pickleball is just one of the many that are continuing to do so, guys. This is awesome. And Scottsdale is the benefactor of this. So that's pretty cool. Love pickleball. And a couple more things here, guys. Last but not least, we'll probably end on this. This is interesting. Floyd Mayweather founded gym closes in Scottsdale. Equipment up for auction. So there it is, Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Central Scottsdale. It is actually not doing so well because of the competition in the small group class, HIIT classes, that kind of stuff. So although apparently it's still thriving across the country with about 75 locations, in Scottsdale, it didn't do so well. So they are auctioning all of the equipment off through, I think November 8th, which was yesterday. So I guess it's done. But guys, I pulled the auction setup for you. Check this out. If you want some Floyd Mayweather equipment, there's some hard bags, punching bags, treadmills, row machines, punching dummies, barbells, dumbbells, all kinds of stuff that you can bid on. Apparently, it might be all closed because it's November 9th and it closed apparently yesterday. But if you really want it, I'm sure you can call them. And if nothing actually sold on the auction platform as of yesterday, possibly you can get in on that. I don't know. But there you go. Localauctions.com, Floyd Mayweather Gym. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate all your time today. And thank you for joining in. And I appreciate everything you guys are hearing me out on. And my crystal ball, it's always a little fuzzy because no one has it perfectly clear. But I'm always at least trying to give you the best information to hopefully be right on my predictions. But you never know. So thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some out of it. And until next Thursday, or next week, I should say, keep it classy, guys. By the way, real quick, we might be going Mondays from here on out because Monday's like the start of the new week with all the news breaking articles that happened over the weekend and last week. So guys, stay tuned. Look for go ahead and subscribe so that you get that alert. But look for our notification of this show, Everything Phoenix YouTube Live, being on potentially Mondays as early as next week. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Stay classy, Phoenix.